Hi learners, I welcome you to this new session on drivers of supply chain management. In the earlier sessions, we have learned about basics of supply chain management, some of the definitions of supply chain, development of supply chain components and concepts. And also we have discussed some of the key decision areas. Let us recap the key decision areas. Effective supply chain management requires strategic choices across various domains, right from network design and inventory control to transportation and information technology. These decisions directly impact a company's ability to meet customer demand, minimize costs, and gain a competitive advantage. So by carefully considering these key decision areas, organizations can build supply chains that are efficient, responsive, and resilient, enabling them to meet customer demand, minimize the cost, and gain a competitive advantage. Now let us see the drivers of supply chain. See, drivers are which drive the systems. So supply chain is driven by various aspects. These include facilities, inventory, transportation, information, sourcing, and pricing. So these are the key drivers which drives for effective supply chain management. Understanding and effectively managing these drivers is crucial for building a strong, resilient, and responsive supply chain that can adapt the changing market demands and achieve organizational goals. Now let us see the drivers of supply chain in detail. From this diagram, you can see from the left side, the first one is facilities. Every company will have, especially manufacturing companies will have manufacturing plant, warehouse, retail outlets, transportation infrastructure located. All these are infrastructure for efficient operations. Second driver is inventory. Inventory means having stock of items, materials, goods in various forms. It may be raw material, raw form, like raw materials, or semi-finished form, or finished goods. It can be in any stage of process. So optimum stock levels to meet demand without any excess issues. When you have to meet the demand, but you should not keep extra, otherwise it will carry unnecessary holding costs. Another important driver is transportation. So efficient movement of goods across the supply chain from one location to another location is also one of the important drivers that will decide the success of the supply chain or company. Information. Accurate and timely data flow for decision making is very, very important. So managing information in these days is very important for a company to be successful. Then sourcing or procurement. So strategic selection of suppliers for quality and cost. We should identify good suppliers who will supply to us. Pricing. This is the important driver. When we discussed components, we discussed facilities, inventory, transportation, information sourcing. Now this pricing is one of the drivers. So competitive and profitable pricing strategies are very, very essential. Now let us see these drivers one by one in detail. Facilities. Facilities are the physical locations in the supply chain network where product is stored, assembled, manufactured, or fabricated. The storage happens in warehouses, assembling happens in production units or process units or manufacturing units, fabrication happens there. It depends on the product under manufacturing. What's the mechanical product? We use the terms like fitting, assembling, welding, joining, cutting, etc. If it's a food product, we say processing, heating, cooling, packing, such kind of words for conversion of raw material into finished product. So they encompass production sites, warehouses, distribution centers, and retail outlets. So decisions regarding facilities are critical because they directly impact the supply chain's responsiveness and efficiency. If the facilities are near to the requirement, the response would be quicker. Say a distribution network point is close to the retail points, then definitely responsiveness will be good and faster, and efficiency will be better. If a manufacturing plant is near to the raw material source, so transportation cost will be low, so it is benefited there. Twice like that. Let us see the facilities. Facilities can be production sites, warehouses, distribution centers, and retail outlets. How these facilities impact the supply chain performance, we need to understand. Dear students, please make your notes so that we can do the assignments easily. So what is the impact on supply chain performance? Especially facilities, how they impact. First thing is responsiveness. Well-distributed network of facilities can enable faster delivery. And definitely delivery time can be reduced. And more customer satisfaction by improved customer service. Efficiency, another impact. Optimizing facility location, capacity, and layout can reduce transportation costs, inventory holding costs, and labor costs. So, deciding the layout of the facility, layout of the warehouse, and layout of the manufacturing facility or layout of the retail store. This also affects the inventory holding costs, labor costs, transportation costs, and overall supply chain costs. Third impact of facilities is cost. So facility-related costs, including construction, rent, utilities, and labor, can represent a significant portion of the total supply chain cost. When you are first time building, it is a capital-intensive, expenditure will be there. One-time expenditure, but very huge expenditure for construction. Sometimes it may be beneficial, instead of constructing, go for a rental or lease model for some time till you are successful and established. It is making financially viable. So all the utilities and labor. So when you decide to build a facility, these are the impacts company will have. One has to be carefully thought of. What are the key considerations in facilities? The first consideration is the location. Strategic placement of facilities can minimize transportation costs, reduce lead times, and improve customer service. So factors to consider include nearness to the suppliers, nearness to the customers, availability of transportation infrastructure, and labor and markets. So based on this, one need to decide the location of the facility. Regarding capacity, determining the appropriate capacity for each facility is essential to meet demand without incurring excessive costs. So it has to be careful, balance to be struck between capacity requirements and demand. Any unused capacity is a huge loss in terms of interest and depreciation, and capital investment. If the capacity is insufficient, you may lose. It may be a business loss. So overcapacity leads to underutilization and higher fixed costs, while undercapacity can result in stock out and lost sales. Another consideration is the layout, how the facility should be layouted. Just like for a house, before constructing, we think what is the land area available, how many bedrooms and kitchen and dining area or any other area, which room, what size, washrooms. We decide and we make a layout with a draftsman. Similar way, before making the layout facility, how is the layout? How it is made? Is the workflow happening properly? Optimized workflow? Easy movement of materials? easy transfer of semi-finished materials from one machine to another machine, one assembly line to another assembly line. These has to be carefully well thought of in advance during construction stage. So layout of a facility can significantly impact its efficiency. Optimizing the flow of materials and products can reduce handling costs. Unnecessary movements should be avoided. We all know Japanese concepts. We should avoid all wastages, waste of machine time, waste of manpower, waste of movement, waste of scrap. All waste must be avoided. Any unnecessary movement, an extra meter, would cost to the company and time. So the layout is optimized and properly made. It will reduce handling cost. It will improve the throughput and enhance the safety also. Technology. So investing in automation and advanced technology can improve facility efficiency. Updated technologies must be definitely used in the facilities like manufacturing or warehouse. That will reduce, when you automate it, it will reduce manual intervention, reduce labor cost, more efficiency, more safe. Examples include automated storage and retrieval systems, robotics and warehouse management systems, fully automatic CNC machines. CNC are computer numerical control machine, use of CAM, computer aided manufacturing, use of different tools and softwares and technologies where computers can control, robots can control, fully automatic conveyors can carry machinery, materials, etc. Now let us see the second important driver for SCM, that is inventory. So inventory consists of all raw materials, all WIP, that is work in process, unfinished goods. These are the three states of materials: raw materials, work in process, unfinished goods within the supply chain. So inventory management is a critical aspect of supply chain management because it directly impacts both responsiveness and efficiency. So these are the three forms of inventory: raw materials, work in process, and finished goods. Raw materials are essential components for the production process. These are the inputs for a production unit because a production unit converts raw materials into finished product. Work in process are partially completed goods awaiting finalization. Finished goods are ready to sell products in the supply chain. Let us take one example and understand, the state of inventory. A car manufacturer purchases aluminum alloy, aluminum ingot alloy in a block shape. Then they convert the aluminum alloy into engine by using a high temperature mold. So this aluminum alloy is a pure raw form. However, partially completed goods awaiting finalization means a component is purchased from another raw material supplier or standard component supplier. That raw material is in a semi-finished state. For example, car seat covers. These are synthetic materials purchased in running meters length rolls. They are semi-finished. They are brought, then again they cut into required length and assemble. For car seats, they are semi-finished. Similarly, in a car, metal sheets are purchased and the rolls and sheets are converted into required shape of the car body parts, semi-finished. Even during assembly line operations, during processing, when some percentage of work is done, that is treated as semi-finished work in process, WIP. Third, status of the inventory is finished goods, which are ready and kept in the finished warehouse where it is ready for sale. Now let us see the considerations in inventory as a driver. First one is cycle inventory. What is cycle inventory? This is an average amount of inventory held to satisfy demand between supplier shipments. Average inventory held, maintained. Say, a warehouse regularly supplies 2,000 numbers for a particular model every day. And almost in a week, one day 1,000 average, another day 1,200, or the 1,500. So overall average, if that is 1,200 for that week, so the cycle inventory is 1,200 average for that week. So reducing cycle inventory requires reducing the order quantity. It is connected. Second important consideration is safety inventory. This is the inventory held to buffer against uncertainty in demand. It's also called dead stock in certain stores. So if a storeroom has got 10,000 numbers of a particular part in the store, and the daily consumption by the manufacturing from the store is 1,000 numbers. So it is a 10-day stock. So after 10th day, the stock will become zero. If the new lot is not received, production can stop. So company may decide by having the safety inventory of, say, 3,000 is a safety inventory stock. Now our 10 days requirement is 10,000. So we'll have 13,000 stock on day 0. That means material received from the raw material suppliers, 10,000 numbers, 3,000 dead stock is already there. So total 13,000. Next 10 days, every day 1,000 we use. And if the supplier cycle time is 3 days, after 7th day, we place order on 7th day. On 10th day, we receive the new 10,000 lot again. So this replenishment happen in the warehouse. However, the 3,000 is the safety inventory always present. In case of sudden demand comes, one day the order quantity is not 1,000, it is 2,000. So you have a dead stock of 3,000 from where you can draw and use. Another consideration is seasonal inventory. This inventory built up in anticipation of predictable seasonal fluctuations in demand. So this happened for all seasonal businesses. In summer season, for refrigerators, air conditioners, ice creams, the demand is high. So seasonal inventory also will be maintained based on the seasonal demands. In winter, room air heaters, geysers, air heaters, and all-round air conditioner with heating facility, woolens, rug and jackets, woolen cap, muffler, woolen clothing are more sold. So those kind of product manufacturers will keep a seasonal inventory for based on the season. Or maybe festival seasonal inventory also, like Deepavali in India, certain kind of products are more sold, like crackers, Diwali crackers, and other Diwali related gifts. So more inventory is maintained by the dealers. So inventory policies. So establishing appropriate inventory policies such as reorder points and order quantities is essential to balance the costs of holding inventory with the risk of stock out. With inventory, always we need to see there should not be stock out, there should not be extra cost of holding. Nowadays, AI-based systems are available to predict the proper forecast of the demand. How inventory impacts the supply chain performance? First one is responsiveness. Higher levels of inventory can enable faster order fulfillment and improved customer service. On efficiency front, we can see lower levels of inventory can reduce holding costs and wastage, scrap, theft, obsolescence costs, and storage costs. So definitely, lower levels will reduce the holding cost, which is inventory carrying cost, obsolescence cost. See, the costs are associated in warehouses due to the reason unused, not used before their expiry date of the material, especially for food and pharma and drugs. And iron sheets may rust, a lot of rework, or wooden sheets may get spoiled because of moisture, or cement warehouses may be having problem with moisture. So there may be theft, pilferage, leakage, all these can happen, spoilage. All these are inventory carrying costs. Okay. So low level of inventory always helps. When you have less inventory, you have less issues like this. Cost, inventory related costs, including holding costs, ordering costs, and shortage costs, can represent a significant portion of the total supply chain cost. Now let us see the third driver, that is transportation. Transportation involves the movement of materials and products between different stages of the supply chain. It is a critical driver of supply chain performance because it directly impacts the lead times, costs, and customer service. Now, let us see the activities in transportation. Transportation, basically, they move materials. So materials are transported between the stages. So the transportation can impact the lead time, they affect the delivery speed, and transportation will influence the cost. Now, transportation costs affect the overall expenses. In logistic cost, transportation is more than 50% of the cost. Other costs are warehousing and handling costs, loading, unloading, etc. And after customer service, transportation impacts customer satisfaction. Customer service it affects. When delivery is done on time, customer is happy. Now, other considerations in transportation are mode of transportation, transportation network, routing and scheduling, technology. So mode of transportation is another important aspect. Selecting the appropriate mode of transportation, truck, rail, air, and water. So depends on the factors such as cost, speed, reliability, and the nature of the product. So transportation network. So designing an efficient transportation network can minimize the transportation costs and improve delivery times. Routing and scheduling. Optimizing routing and scheduling can reduce fuel consumption, improve vehicle utilization, and minimize the delays. Technology. So utilizing TMS, Transportation Management System, can improve visibility, optimize the routes, and manage transportation costs. How transportation impacts the supply chain performance? That is through responsiveness, efficiency, and cost. How it affects responsiveness? Faster, transportation can enable faster delivery times and improved customer service. Selecting a right mode will definitely leads to quick delivery of the product. So efficiencies. Optimizing transportation routes and modes can reduce transportation costs and improve vehicle utilization. And when transportation costs can represent a significant portion of the total supply chain cost. So we need to control the transportation cost to reduce the total supply chain cost. Thereby, company can place their product in the market at competitive price. Information is another important driver. In fact, this is a glue connects all the supply chain. Information must flow between all the elements of the links of the supply chain and all this important stakeholders. So information is the glue that holds the supply chain together. Accurate and timely information is essential for effective decision making and coordination across the supply chain. So for effective supply chain coordination, accurate information is required, timely information, decision making and coordination. Let us see accurate information. So precise data ensures informed decision making process. For example, if a store, through a telephone call, inform the warehouse their requirement for the next week, so there can be error because of listening to other person, because of language, because of error in the communication system or background noise. If the same is done in a live tracking system, like using SAP or Oracle or some kind of software, where all the computer systems of the retailer, wholesaler, supplier, and manufacturer, everybody is connected. So accurate information will flow seamlessly, simultaneously, instantly live. That will help. An example can be when a retail store sells the products, when the billing is done through barcode scanning, bill is generated, barcode information immediately passes to the original manufacturer and everywhere, even to the supplier of raw materials. That helps everybody to plan better. Second one is timely information. So prompt updates enable swift and responsive actions. Decision making is definitely a great advantage of this information. So informed choices drive efficient supply chain operations. And coordination, synchronized efforts enhance overall supply chain performance. So dealers, different warehouses, everybody can be connected. Everybody will get information. Everybody take a better decisions, reduce their wastages, better utilize. Another example can be, say, two warehouses having, one particular kind of material excess. Now the third warehouse or third retail store may have shortage. If the information is available live to everybody, they can shift some material from excess place to shortage place, so that business is not lost. Hope I'm making sense. The fourth is information, which let us see the key considerations. So it affects demand forecasting. So accurate demand forecasting is essential for planning production, inventory, and transportation. Inventory visibility. So real-time visibility into inventory levels across the supply chain enables better decision-making and reduce the risk of stockouts. Order tracking. So tracking orders throughout the supply chain provides customers with visibility into the status of their order and improves definitely customer service. Data sharing. So sharing information with suppliers, all suppliers, tier 1, tier 2, tier N, all suppliers of raw materials and component suppliers. And customers can improve coordination and reduce lead times. When the raw material supplier knows how it is happening, for example, a car company purchases standard tires from another standard tire manufacturer. Say Maruti is an Indian car manufacturer who buys tires from, say, MRF or Seat or Apollo or Bridgestone. So these tire manufacturers, when they get information of car sales instantly, they also plan their rubber procurement plans for making car tires by these tire companies. So data sharing information with suppliers and customers can improve coordination and reduce lead times. How it impacts responsiveness, efficiency, and cost. So information impacts. Improved information flow can enable faster response times and improved customer service. So this information flow definitely helps. Accurate information can reduce inventory levels, improve production planning, and optimize transportation routes. In respect of cost, so the improved information flow can reduce the cost associated with inventory, transportation, and product. Now, the fifth driver is sourcing. So sourcing involves selecting and managing the suppliers, different kind of suppliers. So it's a critical driver of supply chain performance because it directly impacts the cost, quality, and availability of materials and products. So availability, so which is affecting the supply chain of materials and products. Cost management, so that directly impacts the material and product cost. So sourcing must be done with the lowest cost. Then quality assurance, so ensures high standards for materials. When you purchase, get quality material so that our final product is quality. Suppose a tire manufacturer supplies poor quality tire and a car manufacturer assembles the tire and sells in the market. So any poor feedback on a tire would be first to the car manufacturer only, not to the tire manufacturers. Right? Then supplier selection, choosing and managing suppliers effectively. These are the activities done under sourcing. Let's see the consideration under sourcing. First one is supplier selection. Selecting the right suppliers is essential for ensuring the quality, reliability, and cost effectiveness of materials and products. Then SRM, supplier relationship management. So building strong relationship with suppliers can improve communication, collaboration, and innovation. Procurement strategies. So implementing effective procurement strategies such as competitive bidding and long-term contracts can reduce costs and improve supplier performance. So to procure materials, you cannot buy in a small scale, correct? So when you buy large scale, definitely you should go for competitive bidding. So companies would go for contracts, they advertise in appropriate online platforms or newspapers about the requirements. Then the suppliers will apply through tender document, they bid for it. So companies will take a decision through this bidding and tendering process to decide which supplier is the best supplier for us. So this will reduce the cost and improve supplier performance. Global sourcing. So sourcing from global suppliers can provide access to lower costs. Some prices, some countries may have, material available at cheaper prices, not cheaper quality, cheaper prices. So one should definitely explore it, which is explored through global sourcing. And specialized capabilities. But it also introduces complexities related to transportation, communication, because when you are purchasing from another country which is far away, any delay in sea transport, marine transport, or any issue in the politically or environmental issues or climate issues or any kind of issues with the other country definitely hampers our production also. So global sourcing is beneficial, but there are complexities and challenges which has to be planned for. Plan ABC must be there. How sourcing impacts responsiveness, efficiency, and cost. So stronger supplier relationships can enable faster response times and improve product availability. And effective sourcing strategies can reduce costs and improve supplier performance. And sourcing costs can represent a significant portion of the total supply chain cost. So one must be careful. Say a company makes tangible good product, say car. So in a car or bike, nearly 50% of the total cost is raw materials cost. So the significant portion. So purchasing of raw materials will consume 50% of the total company's costs. So definitely one has to be careful in sourcing. Okay, good contracts and reliable suppliers must be there. Then the sixth and important driver, the last driver, is pricing. So pricing strategies play a crucial role in matching supply and demand. So effective pricing can influence customer demand, optimize inventory levels, and maximize profitability. So pricing strategies, customer demand, inventory management, profitability. So customer demand. So pricing influences our customer demand and purchasing decisions. So appropriate pricing is very, very important. So pricing optimizes inventory levels and reduces waste. So pricing enhances profitability through increased sales margin. Let us see the key considerations. First one is pricing strategies. Different pricing strategies such as cost plus pricing, value-based pricing, and competitive pricing can be used to achieve different objectives. Promotional pricing. So promotional pricing can be used to stimulate demand and clear excess inventory. Dynamic pricing. So variable, okay? Dynamic pricing can be used to adjust prices based on real-time demand and supply conditions. Revenue management. So revenue management techniques can be used to optimize the pricing and to maximize the revenue. How pricing decisions of this pricing driver impacts the responsiveness, efficiency, and cost. Effective pricing can influence customer demand and improve product availability. And optimizing pricing can reduce inventory levels and improve capacity utilization. So pricing decisions directly impact the revenue and profitability. Now let us summarize today's session of supply chain drivers. So by carefully considering and managing the SCM drivers, companies can build a robust and efficient supply chain that delivers value to customers and achieves organizational goals. The optimal balance between these drivers will vary depending on the specific industry, product, and customer requirements. So operation managers and supply chain managers must carefully control these supply chain management drivers so that companies are profitable. With this, I'll be closing the session, and the next session would be on basics of logistics. So logistics contain transportation and warehousing arrangements. Thank you for your patient hearing. See you soon in another interesting session. Thank you. Have a good day.